Hey guys, it's Michael. I have a quick update for you on more stimulus from the Federal Reserve. Earlier this week, the Federal Reserve just approved a $750 billion stimulus plan that will allow them to start buying back corporate bonds. So in today's video, I'm going to go over exactly how you could benefit from this plan, what exactly is in this $750 billion stimulus plan, and when they're going to start using this money. But before we get started, I want to remind you guys that I'll be announcing the giveaway winner, the $50 free stock giveaway winner at the end of today's video. So if you've watched any of my previous videos, you liked them, you commented, and you're subscribed to my channel, well then please be sure to stick around until the end of today's video so you can see if you won. If you like more giveaways in the future, then please be sure to comment that down below and like this video. Anyways, let's jump right into it and let's go over what exactly this $750 billion stimulus plan is. So the Fed first announced this plan to buy back bonds as part of the CARES Act earlier in March. However, on April 9th, they extended this program, and then as of earlier this week, they said that they will start to buy back individual corporate bonds up to $750 billion worth of these bonds. So you may be wondering, well, how does this benefit me? Am I going to get money? So I'm going to go over all of that right now. So on Monday, they said they're going to start buying back individual corporate bonds. So what does this mean? Well, when a company issues a bond, in simple terms, it means that they're trying to borrow money. And that means that people will buy their bonds, and then the company can use that money for whatever they want. They could use that money for expenses. They could use that money to make innovations to their products. Whatever they want to use that money for, they can use it for. So essentially what the Federal Reserve is doing right now is that they're saying if a company issues a bond, well, that means they are going to be able to buy back these companies' bonds. The Federal Reserve has $750 billion. But there are specific types of bonds that the Federal Reserve says that they will buy back. So under their latest guidelines that Jerome Powell announced earlier this week, they said that the types of bonds they're going to buy back are individual bonds that have a remaining maturity of 5 years or less. That means they expire within 5 years or less. They have to be investment grade bonds, which means that they are less risky. So these bonds are not junk bonds, and they are bonds with ratings of BBB minus or Baa3 as of March 22nd. So if these companies were good bonds and they were above that rating before the virus started on March 22nd, well then they can still buy these bonds back even if these bonds were downgraded after the virus started. For example, companies like Carnival Cruise or other companies that have been struggling during the virus, if they had bonds that were rated higher before everything started and now they're considered junk bonds, well, those bonds are still eligible for this $750 billion stimulus plan. So a lot of you may be wondering, well, how does this help me? It only helps big companies. It does help big companies, but there is a way where you can make a significant amount of money from it. And this is by investing in the stock market. Right now, if you invest in the stock market, the Federal Reserve has been spending billions of dollars to help prop up the prices in the market. Ever since the market crashed earlier in the year, the stock market has been consistently going up and up. The Federal Reserve slashed their interest rates to near zero. They started buying back bonds, and now they're announcing that they're going to be buying back individual corporate bonds. So what that means is that companies like Apple, Carnival Cruise Lines, Delta, Tesla, all of these companies can issue bonds. And if there's no regular everyday people like you and me who want to buy these bonds and invest in these bonds, well then the Federal Reserve can go ahead and spend up to $750 billion. Before this announcement, the Federal Reserve had only been purchasing corporate bonds that were part of ETFs. So they were part of groups of stocks. An ETF is a group of stocks. But now they're able to buy these individual bonds. One piece of criticism of this announcement earlier this week on what the Federal Reserve is doing is that some people are saying that the Federal Reserve is now playing a role in picking winners and losers in the economy. They're able to that they want to succeed in companies that are going to fail because they are able to choose which companies' bonds they buy. So they can choose to buy Apple's bonds, but they may not choose to buy Delta's bonds. So a lot of criticism has come up because now they're saying the Federal Reserve can ultimately control if a company stays in business or not, or if they're struggling or if they're doing well simply by buying back their bonds. According to a former investment banker and head of Whalen Global Advisors, he said, "I think the Federal Reserve and the bond purchasing plan, this $750 billion plan, is a mistake because the Fed has already achieved their objective. The stock market has been consistently going up, and they don't need to spend this more money." What he says is the Federal Reserve doesn't need to be distracted by adding more money, doing these more bond buyback programs. What they care about is that the markets work and spreads don't go crazy. The Federal Reserve has to realize that So basically what he's saying is that the Federal Reserve doesn't need to do this because the stock market has already been going up and it doesn't need any more propping up. Everything has already been going up and they don't need this more money. However, so if you want to make money from this, how can you go about doing it? Because it's not a direct stimulus check. It's not giving stimulus payments to everyday people like you and I. So how can you actually benefit from it? So if you're invested in the stock market, then you already are going to benefit from this because now companies essentially have access to a $750 billion for funding. If they need that money, they can issue bonds, and then the Federal Reserve can go ahead and buy these bonds from them. Another way that you can make money from this is looking into companies that currently have bonds issued and that have 5 years or less maturity. So if there's companies out there that are struggling but have bonds issued, as long as they're an investment grade bond and they're not risky, then the Federal Reserve can go ahead, buy these bonds, and this will help these companies do better and stay in business during the shutdown when the economy isn't back up and running yet. For example, cruise lines have been facing bankruptcy, and a lot of people have been worried about cruise lines going bankrupt because no one's going on cruise ships and no one's planning to go on cruise ships for a while. So now these companies can issue bonds, and then if you invest in them, well then now you can get in at a good price to some of these companies that may have gone out of business, may have gone bankrupt, or may have just been struggling, but now with this money from the Federal Reserve, they'll now be able to do better, and you can get in and invest in these companies and make a significant return. I know a lot of you are saying, I don't have enough money to simply pay my bills. I don't have enough money to do everything I need to do on my day-to-day life. How can I possibly invest? Well, in order to start investing, you don't need any more than $1. You can start investing with as little as $1 on apps like Webull or Robinhood. You can download them using the link down below, and you can get 2 free stocks when you sign up for the Webull investing app. So it doesn't take a lot to start investing, but the way that you'll start making money is by putting aside a couple of dollars. Every time you get a paycheck, every time you get paid, if you have a couple of extra dollars, you could go ahead, put this money aside. In addition to this, you can start by saving your spare change every time you buy something at a store. The app called Acorns Investment, which is linked down below, every time you make a purchase, let's say it's $1.50, they'll round that up to $2 and invest that 50 cents for you, that difference. So those are great ways to start investing in the stock market and ways that you could take advantage of this $750 billion stimulus plan that the Federal Reserve just announced. Now let's get into the winner for the giveaway. So we did a $50 free stock giveaway. If you'd like me to do more, then be sure to comment down below that you'd like me to do more. Anyways, the winner is this person right here. Congratulations. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to message you. Make sure to respond with your email so that I can go ahead and send you your $50 free stock. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like the video down below. Leave a comment with any of your thoughts, takeaways, or questions that you have on today's video, on stocks, on anything relating to making money in general. And subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.